Hey guys, good morning or good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is, it's good, right? Another fantastic day to be alive. I'm excited to continue the series of motivation. We've talked about feeding our motivation, how we got to stay after it and feed it like we do feed our bodies and stay on top of it. We talked about how our motivation is affected by our physical condition. And if we just feel yucky physically, then it's so incredibly hard to be motivated, right? You guys all know that. Like when your body's not right, you're dragging. It's so hard to get motivated. Today, we're going to talk about the emotional side of it. And when you have your emotions out of whack and they're not in a good, healthy place, then it is also extremely difficult to feel motivated. And it's interesting that without knowing it, a lot of us have like conditioned ourselves emotionally, and we're kind of just going along, not really cognizant of what's happening, not really aware and intentional about how we're feeling emotionally. And so it almost has this block or this weight. And so our motivation is trapped under this load, this emotional load that's holding it down. And I wholeheartedly believe and love and have lived and experienced myself and taught many people how to do this. But your emotions are your power plant for life. And so much of what you do is determined by your emotions. Think about it. When cognitively, like I should do that or I want to do that. But we end up making a decision based on how we feel, right? So you might be sitting on the couch and you're like, in your mind, you're like, I should totally get up and go exercise. I should get up and go do something for that person I've been thinking about. I should serve them. I should grab a book and read it. I should work on practice my instrument. I should do all these things. But what do we end up doing? You're like, nah, I don't feel like it. so you sit there and you watch the TV or turn on Netflix or something, or you just sit there and vegetate or take a nap, whatever. And like we act and react emotionally, right? And you might even be aware in the moment, like, I should be cool about this situation. I should be calm. But your emotions are raging, and so you explode, and you say things you later regret and do all this stuff, right? We all act on what we feel. And our emotions are literally the driving force in our lives. I want you to think about that. Like, literally take some time to ponder that idea. That your emotions are the driving force of your life. Wow. Right? It's huge. And so in order to use our emotions as a power plant for positivity, because the power plants, they're producing energy, and a lot of people are generating negative energy with their emotions. And then others who are deliberate and intentional are generating positive energy. But you can generate ridiculous amounts of motivation if you have your energy in the right place and your emotions in the right place. But I want to ask you a question. Kind of like, this is like a coaching session here, right? If I was with you together when we were talking, are there emotional wounds or scars or emotional baggage, any hurt, any load that you're carrying that feels like is just crushing your emotional motivation? Or is there any kind of emotional toxicity? Or do you feel kind of sour emotionally? And it's interesting, as I work with people all around the world, I end up meeting and working with a lot of people, and when we start doing, we just start examining their emotional lives. And again, this is the power plant, you guys. It's so important and gets very little attention. And if we examine our emotions, like, how do you feel most of the time? And a lot of people go through life feeling irritated, feeling bothered, feeling frustrated, feeling stressed, carrying this load from something that happened in the past or should have happened that didn't, from some neglect, from some mean word. And so literally, like, as adults, we're going around holding on to something mean that someone said to us in middle school. And guys, I've been there. Like, I held on to those things for a long time. Or hurts that came along from some neglect or some abuse or just something we picked up along the way. And so we have these emotional wounds or these emotional sensitivities, and sometimes they're like little hair triggers on an explosion that's coming, or it's just things that are going on day in and day out where it's just toxic. You're around people that are kind of toxic and just dragging you down. There's negativity, these emotions of fear or bitterness or hatred. I mean, there's so many emotions coming in there. And literally a lot of people don't feel motivation because they're blocked. They just are blocked up. So it's like you have this huge reservoir of emotional energy and motivation that's there, but it's all blocked. And it's trapped. And when we can let that go and remove the blockage, so to speak, that's kind of just trapping it right there, when we can remove that, and all that motivation energy comes. And so I want to invite you today in this training, like, how do you tap into your emotional energy? How do you turn the emotions on? And you literally have the power. You have the power to do this. You may not believe it right now. You have the power to turn that on in any moment. Okay? You can bring it. You can bring that emotional motivation at any moment. But the easiest and best way is to make sure we're in a really healthy place emotionally. So here are my challenges today. Number one, examine if you're carrying this weight or this load or this toxicity or it's sour, right? If there's anything there, just let that go. You can write about it. Talk to the tree about it. Like, don't take it out on people. Like, take it out on paper, and go scream at your neighbor's cow or something. Just like, don't take it out on people, because then it just affects other people negatively. But like, you let it go. Write about it, and tear up the paper or burn it, get rid of it. Like, get those things out, and then examine your life and like, is there anything toxic? Are you bringing in? And here's what's interesting: input determines output. Input determines output. What we're bringing to our lives affects us emotionally big time. So examine everything you're doing. I find that those people who consume the news a lot are very fearful. It creates this fear mentality and a scarcity mentality, and they begin to think and feel in fear-based ways, and they get stressed a lot, they get anxious, and a lot of people are struggling with anxiety right now and fear, literally because of the news. I'm not kidding. I know that sounds crazy. I'm not kidding. The news is predominantly negative, and the message again and again and again, this is a scary place and it's bad, and you worry about it. They create so much worry. Remove that from your life. Done. Also, if you're watching movies or shows or songs that just have this energy and this emotional, and watch, man, one of the most emotional things in the world is music. It affects you emotionally. Don't think it doesn't. Like, it has a gigantic effect on you emotionally. So be careful. And you might be like, but I love that music. And you've trained yourself to like a certain genre. But if that genre makes you feel sad or discouraged or angry or kind of rough and raw, I mean, music has so many emotions. So watch it. And if your regular input of movies and music and conversations and the things you're reading has a negative, toxic effect on your emotions, pay attention to it, then you got to remove it. You guys, remove anything from your life. So any feelings, any past hurts, any input that's just having a negative effect on you emotionally, remove it. Gone. And if you've got some friendships or relationships that they're constantly complaining or whining or you're tearing you down, gossiping, any of that stuff, you feel it tear you down, then you have to really limit that or totally change it. Because we ought to be, like, seriously, guys, every day we ought to be like just stoked and just happy and feeling good. Now, we're going to have a full range of emotion. There's going to be times we feel sad and times we feel angry, and we're going to, all those emotions, we should have a full, healthy range of emotion. But most of the time, we should feel good emotionally. And when we clear up that blockage, right, and we remove the toxicity and the poisons that are emotionally there, then all of a sudden, our natural state of being, you guys, is to feel good. Let that sink in. Life is not just this lame, long endurance race of dealing with crap and then you die, right? Life is meant to be good. Our natural state as human beings is to feel good, to feel happy. Isn't that fascinating? Isn't that exciting? Like, our natural state as human beings is to feel motivated and excited and driven. But we bring in all this stuff and we hold on to it. And then it seems like our natural state as human beings is to be unmotivated and to lack drive and excitement. But that's not true. We're actually practicing perpetual self-sabotage emotionally. And so I want to challenge you and invite you to get rid of those emotions, let them go, free it up, bring in input from every source that actually helps you feel good emotionally, and get to that place. It's totally possible. I've done it, okay? I have done it. I went through all the healing and the cleansing and just getting all of that out of my system. I held on to for years and years and years. It was a weight, and I was in a dark place. And once I let that go, once I freed that up, can you see that in your mind? How, like, once you remove the blockage, you let go of the weight, and you extract all the poisons, all of a sudden you have this clear, clean slate, right? You have this empty vessel that naturally, in our natural state, just generates good, positive motivation and feelings. And it's so easy to get motivated. At that point, think about it. If you're trying to push this gigantic load, it takes so much effort. But if the load's gone, how easy is it to move forward? How easy is it to get motivated if there's no massive load to drag through the mud with you? It's like it's a piece of cake. You turn on a little motivation, like, whoa, I feel fantastic. So make that happen, you guys. And then fuel yourself every single day emotionally with the music you listen to, the conversations you have, the thoughts you have, the books you read, the things you watch and listen to, like this, right? If we get the right things consistently, we actually create these habits, and then it becomes easier and easier to get and stay motivated. So I'm rarely, like super rarely, do I feel unmotivated. Most of the time, I'm like an energy, like the Energizer Bunny, right? Just on it. And I'm feeling super motivated. And then, my friends, this is cool. Once you're feeling super motivated, it's easy to start motivating others, to start lifting them and building them and bringing them along. And now I walk into a room and I gotta light the place up, and I can motivate a lot of people. And I literally get messages every single day now of people who are thanking me for having motivated them and lifted them up and inspired them and helped them. And now you can start being a light, kind of. You're sharing the light that's just coming through you. And you just share the light. And so you be a light for others, for motivating and help them. So again, we're going through this process here. We're feeding our motivation. We're cognizant of it, that it's this process, it's this pattern, it's this habit. We're taking care of our bodies and make sure our bodies feel good. So we wake up and our body feels good. Now we're hitting the heart and soul, and the emotions feel fantastic. And now we've cleared out all this space. So physically and emotionally, we feel great. It's easy and fun and exciting, enjoyable to be super motivated and get things done. Awesome is always an option. Reach upward.